Welcome to the deep dive. We take stacks of information, cut through the noise, and, well, get you straight to the insights that matter.
And today we've got a really fascinating collection of reports. They pull back the curtain on, the intersection of politics, power, and information here in the U.S.
Yeah, quite a mix. Our mission today is to unpack some complex, intertwined stories.
Exactly. We're looking at the Epstein case. It's a surprising link to QAnon.
Still going strong, apparently.
Right. And then there are the internal battles within both parties, challenges to economic data integrity, public institutions.
It's a lot. We'll dig into these threads, pull out the key takeaways, and help you understand what might be happening behind the headlines.
So the big question seems to be, how do things like a firing at the Bureau of Labor Statistics
Or a fight in the Texas legislature?
or the Epstein files fall out?
Yeah.
How do they all connect? It points to this broader struggle over information, right? Who controls the narrative?
Let's unpack that. Starting with Epstein seems unavoidable.
Yeah, especially its relevance for someone like Donald Trump. Ezra Klein's interview with Will Sommer really nails it. The short answer is QAnon.
Okay, so to get this, we need to understand the QAnon worldview, right?
Yeah.
What's their core belief about figures like Epstein?
Well, fundamentally, it's that corrupt pedophilic elites control everything. Think back to Pizzagate, that kind of wild, baseless theory.
Right.
QAnon believers have this almost religious intensity about Epstein being central to that cabal.
And Trump's role in this worldview.
For them, almost every politician is corrupt except Trump. He's seen as, uncorrupted, maybe even sent by God, some believe.
To train the swamp.
Exactly. To clean out the swamp and expose this massive conspiracy, they attribute everything, job losses, cancer, high rent, wars, to these elites.
Some even believe truly extreme things, like ritual abuse.
Yeah, some go that far. Ritual child murder for blood, red shoes as an insider sign. It's pretty dark. And the core idea is that arresting just a few key people would fix everything.
Which leads to the storm idea.
Precisely. The storm was their belief that Trump would order mass arrests, take out these elites in Hollywood, banking the Democratic Party.
And people genuinely believed this was imminent, like Ashley Babbitt on January 6th.
Tragically, yes,
Yeah.
she believed the storm was here. It started on, obscure message boards, then spread to social media, and then became almost mainstream. Millions bought into it.
So from Trump's perspective, how did he handle this? It's a powerful group of believers.
Well, the analysis suggests he didn't actually believe the crazy story himself.
Yeah.
But he saw that millions of his supporters did. They bought into it hook, line, and sinker.
So he played along.
He tantalized them with promises during the campaign. The thinking seems to have been, get elected, then forget the whole thing.
And initially, his supporters were thrilled when he appointed people like Kash Patel or Dan Bongino.
Oh yeah, they were delirious with joy. They saw them as fellow travelers, major conspiracy theorists. They thought finally someone in power was going to spill the beans.
But then Epstein gets arrested. That must have seemed like validation at first.
Absolutely. QAnon naturally assumed, okay, this is it. Trump's on the right trail.
So what changed?
The big shock was when Trump and his lawyer, Pam Bondi, basically said, hold on. There's no list, no cabal, nobody's getting arrested, please forget it.
Wow. That must have been jarring.
Jarring is an understatement. For them, it meant their entire mythology was a fable. One source compared it to the Pope announcing Jesus never existed. It shook them to their very foundations.
So how has that fallout settled? Are they just moving on?
Not at all. QAnon and a lot of Magi people have no intention whatsoever of just letting this drop. They feel Trump switched teams, that he's hiding it.
So the perceived stalling just makes it worse for them.
Exactly. It fuels the suspicion. This story isn't fading.
Which brings us to Barry Levine's piece in the New York Times. He's covered Epstein for years, wrote a book, and he has 9 big questions.
Yeah, and they are fundamental questions. First, the money. Where did Epstein get it?
Yeah.
$1 billion wired to his account.
With no obvious source like a startup or CEO role.
Right. Who sent it? Why? That seems like something the Fed should be able to figure out, doesn't it?
You'd think so. Then there's the spy angle.
Yes, the Acosta quote is pretty damning. Rene Acosta, who later became Trump's labor secretary, said he was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and I should leave him alone.
Who told him that? And was the cabinet job related? Big questions.
Huge. And then Trump's own potential involvement. Pam Bondi allegedly told him he was in the Epstein files. Reports of FBI agents removing documents mentioning him.
How much is true? We don't know.
And Bill Clinton. 21 phone numbers in Epstein's little black book.
Yeah.
What was that relationship, really?
Beyond Prince Andrew, who else was involved? Who were the clients on the island? Any frequent flyers?
And who helped Epstein? Besides Ghislaine Maxwell, there's the mysterious death of Jean-Luc Brunel, the French modeling scout, in a Paris prison.
What about the contents of the safe raided by the FBI?
A 3-page index listing. 40 computers, 26 hard disks, 70 CDs, recording devices, thousands of compact disks. People want that list made public.
And the videos, why can't they be released? Levine suggests blurring tech exists.
Right, like Google Maps uses. And finally, the autopsy report, the full report by Kristen Roman. DNA tests on the sheet. Did other prisoners hear anything?
These are specific, pointed questions.
They are. And the feeling is, much of the country wants to know, but the response is stonewalling, which, as Levine notes, didn't work out so well for Nixon. It just keeps the story alive.
So this isn't going away for potential 2028 Republican candidates either.
Wow.
It could linger into the 27 primary.
Seems very likely. The more stonewalling, the longer it lasts. And it creates a real dilemma for them.
Align with Trump, nothing to see here, or align with the base, demanding answers.
Exactly. And the assumption is, if you're demanding transparency, you're probably not in the files yourself.
But taking a stance now is risky, isn't it? What if new information surfaces?
Totally. It's playing with fire. Imagine if videos came out showing, a dozen congressional Republicans commit statutory rape, live and in color. Any stance taken now could look terrible.
High stakes indeed. So who's aligning where among the potential candidates?
Well, demanding release, siding with the base. You've got Senators Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Rand Paul. They're staying visible, taking positions.
Cruz with his media presence, Hawley on issues like stock trading bans, Paul doing early state visits.
Right. And then on the other side, with Trump's nothing to see here line, you have J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Christine Ohm.
And some are trying to stay out of it.
For now, yeah. Governors like Brian Kemp, Glenn Youngkin, Sarah Huckabee Sanders seem to be waiting it out.
What about the actual voters? Where do they stand?
Polls show almost 80% of Trump voters want to get to the bottom of this. And over half, 52%, think the government is covering things up.
Interesting. Even non-politicians who support Trump are pushing back on this.
Yeah, figures like Mike Cernovich, Mike Lindell, Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz, Steve Bannon. They're attacking Trump for not releasing everything. They're actually siding with the base against Trump on this one issue.
So while that struggle over information plays out, there's the more traditional power struggle, campaign money.
Right. And Democrats aren't really agonizing over Epstein. They're focused on more conventional campaign stuff.
Raising money, building infrastructure, leaving those FEC paper trails.
It's all about being a team player for 2026, helping win back the House and Senate. That means fundraising, spending, campaigning in key places.
Pete Buttigieg is leading the pack so far.
Yeah, $1.6 million banked this year, paying staff. Governors are more in the hundreds of thousands range, with super PACs handling bigger costs like travel and polling.
And a lot of that early money is about raising more money, buying donor lists.
Exactly. People like Bashir in Kentucky or Whitmer in Michigan, they're investing in lists. Their emails might ask you to donate to the DNC or DSCC, but they also boost their own profile.
And Newsom is using his big donor network to help others, building goodwill.
Precisely. They've all got super PACs, digital operations ramping up. Some are running national ads if they're less known.
Like Bashir campaigning down in South Carolina already.
Right, and even governors up for re-election in 26, like Shapiro in PA or Morton MD, they focus on that. But raising money nationally for their own race lets them meet key players everywhere.
Okay, but here's the kicker. While the race is on, Republicans are financially way ahead.
Yeah, the disparity is stark. Maggio Inc., the main GOP super PAC, pulled in $177 million in the first half of 2025.
A lot from crypto sources. Rewarded with things like a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Sounds interesting.
Let's just say it contrasts sharply with the main Democratic super PAC, Future Forward.
Right.
They have about $2,800 on hand and are apparently still paying back money from crypto execs now in prison.
Ouch. And it's bad down ballot, too.
Yep. The House GOP fund has $11 million more than the Dems. The Senate GOP fund has $16 million more, plus the Democrats have $21 million in debt left over from 2024.
So why the big gap? What's the underlying dynamic?
Fundamentally, rich people and corporations generally get a better deal from Republicans. That's a strong incentive.
While Democrats rely more on small donors who aren't focused on midterms yet.
Right. Small donors don't usually pay much attention to midterms, especially this far out. Plus, the party in power can always offer valuable favors to potential donors, and donors usually focus on the next election, at most.
Shifting globally trade deals. Trump's had some wins with the UK, Japan, EU, But China remains the elusive one, and they won't just roll over and beg like the EU perhaps did.
No, Xi Jinping has significant advantages. He doesn't face elections, so he can impose more pain on his people if needed.
And strategic resources, rare earths.
Exactly. China has those rare earth elements America needs. She can control sales, big consequences for U.S. companies. Plus, China makes tons of parts for jets, phones. Taxing those exports is easy for her.
And the trade balance. U.S. imports lots of agricultural goods from Trump's base.
Correct. China exports way more to the U.S., 450 BMN versus 150 BME. U.S. imports include a lot of farm products. She could sign long-term contracts for Brazilian soybeans, for instance, that would very much upset Trump's base.
He also doesn't have to convince 27 other leaders, unlike the EU chief.
Right. That gives him far more power. The idea of Trump doing a one-on-one visit to show off his deal-making skills, sources say that will never work.
Why not?
Because, frankly, the analysis suggests Trump doesn't understand any of the details of trade. She, however, is prepped, talks to experts for hours, and won't just agree on the spot to some crazy proposal.
So if Trump imposes high tariffs...
Xi likely blocks exports of key materials and parts. That could shut down U.S. companies, maybe even trigger a recession. A deal might still happen through lower-level talks, but it won't be one-sided like the EU one.
Unless it's one-sided against the U.S.?
That's a possibility some sources raise.
Okay, let's bring it back home. Institutional integrity. The Senate went quiet for August recess, but right before, Schumer and Thune cut a deal on some nominees. Not all, though.
Yeah, and one confirmation was pretty controversial. Jeanine Pirro, as U.S. Attorney for D.C. Former prosecutors and judges called her totally unfit. Her stated goal: prosecute Trump's enemies. Raises impartiality questions. Yeah.
The minority party can't block, but they can slow things down, which annoys Trump.
Right. And Thune, the majority leader, thought about going nuclear, stripping that minority power. But he's been around. He knows the shoe may be on the other foot someday.
A Democratic Senate could ram through their own people later.
Exactly. Trump doesn't care about post-2029, but Thune, at 64, definitely does. He's playing the long game.
Meanwhile, in Texas, Republicans are pushing a new redistricting map. They played it safe in 2020, protecting incumbents.
Which was seen as a good decision then. But now, Trump apparently demanded they be aggressive and try to win 5 more House seats.
And they said, yes, sir, even if it was against their better judgment.
Seems that way. They drew this new map, and the media mostly assumed, okay, GOP just picked up 5 seats.
But not so fast. There's a flaw.
Potentially a big one. 4 of the 5 tweaked districts are now majority Latino. The assumption was based on Trump getting 55% of the Latino vote in 2024.
But gerrymandering 101 says you need reliable voters, right?
Exactly. And it's far from clear that Latinos are reliable Republicans. Even if some like Trump personally in 24, that calculation might be faulty.
Because things have changed since November 2024, Latino sentiment has shifted.
Significantly, it seems. Many Latinos are souring on Trump. Why? Deportations and tariffs.
I see arresting people without trial doesn't build goodwill.
Not exactly. And the tariffs are hitting trade with Mexico, hurting jobs, especially in South Texas.
What are the polls showing now?
Nationwide, Trump's approval with Latinos is around 36%. That's down 19 points from the 24 exit polls. Probably worse in Texas because of the direct impact of policies. Plus, his perceived lack of interest in helping flood victims there.
So this dummy mander, as some are calling it, could backfire badly.
It absolutely could. These districts aren't guaranteed wins. Republicans could lose them all. If Dems run local Latinos and hammer on deportations and tariffs, forget gaining seats.
Could it be even worse? Like a blue wave making safe GOP seats vulnerable?
That's the risk. Basing everything on only one election is dangerous.
And this is causing pushback even within the Texas GOP from Latino Republicans.
Yeah, they're hearing it from constituents, and they're starting to do the unthinkable, advocating for some undocumented immigrants like Dreamers.
Like Rep. Salazar in Florida, supporting a path to citizenship. That's heresy to the Trump line.
It is. She made a point about past shameful treatment of immigrants, although it's noted she did vote for the bill giving ICC $75 billion for roundups. So it's complicated.
And the Democrats' response, fleeing the state.
Yep, the quorum break stunt. They've decamped to Illinois, guests of Governor Pritzker. Texas police can't arrest them there. Pritzker will shred extradition requests.
They can't stay there forever, obviously.
Probably not till November 2026. But the stunt gets national attention on the redistricting. and maybe pushes other states like California or New York towards countermeasures.
Can Governor Abbott just replace them, though?
No, not unilaterally. Expulsion needs a two-thirds vote in the House 100 votes. That's extremely rare.
Like, only happened once since 1927 for misconduct.
Exactly. And quorum breaks. They have a storied tradition in Texas, 1870, 1979, 2003, 2021. None of those lawmakers were expelled for it.
Republicans don't have the 100 votes needed.
Right? They have 88. The threshold protects against political overreach. Quorum breaks are basically minority resistance made possible by the state's own rules.
Okay, next up. The integrity of economic data. Friday's firing of the BLS commissioner, Erica McIntarfer, that really shook things up.
It did. She was a Biden appointee, fired after a weak jobs report and downward revisions. Trump immediately claimed the data was rigged to make him look bad.
Even without evidence. He's disputed data before, right? Inflation numbers.
Repeatedly. This latest move alarmed economists across the political spectrum and federal statisticians. It amplified fears about, institutional capture.
And the BLS is crucial. 140 years old, produces the monthly jobs report everyone watches.
Markets, policies, public mood, they all rely on that data. Direct interference with the professionals who compile it is rare and potentially destabilizing.
How is this data usually protected from politics?
Agencies like BLS, BEA, Census Bureau operate under established protocols. They're meant to be insulated. It's career civil servants, not political appointees, who design surveys, collect data. The processes are complex, entrench the bedrock of policy and market confidence.
But there are weak points. A president can't just order a change in the inflation rate.
No, but they can influence appointments, shift incentives, change funding, or just undermine trust in the results. Trump calling unemployment phony or inflation fake laid the groundwork for suspicion.
So the fear now is more about subtle manipulation, putting loyalists in key spots.
Exactly. That opens the door. Maybe methodology gets quietly revised to downplay people leaving the workforce, or a GDP report is delayed due to technical review. Small moves that erode credibility quickly.
And just raising the possibility of fraud is damaging.
It can be enough to destabilize public faith and undermine trust, even if the numbers themselves aren't touched.
Is there a check on this? Non-governmental data sources.
Thankfully, yes. The U.S. has a whole ecosystem of them. The Conference Board's LEI, ADP payrolls, ISM indices, NFE Small Business Index, University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment.
Real estate data from CoreLogic, Zillow, Redfin, commodity prices, shipping.
All of that. They serve as a vital check on government narratives, a reality check.
What about the institutional safeguards? How strong are they?
They exist, but their strength really depends on leadership respecting them and vigilance from outsiders, Congress, press, groups like the American Statistical Association.
But sustained attacks, firings, that takes a toll regardless.
Definitely. It leads to staff leaving, delays in updates, lower morale. That degrades data quality even without fabrication. And rebuilding lost confidence. Much harder.
This isn't just politics. It's about governance, how we react to economic signals.
Precisely. The firing sends a message. Deliver bad news. Get punished. That's a dangerous precedent. It's about soft power, eroding trust, reshaping narratives, undermining institutions.
Related to institutions, a Fed governor resigned. Adriana Kukler. A lucky break for Trump.
You can see it that way. Trump desperately wants lower interest rates, good for his real estate background, lowers federal debt payments.
Though maybe he doesn't realize low rates fuel inflation.
Possibly not. He's even talked about firing Fed Chair Powell, his own nominee, though that's legally tricky. Anyway, Kugler, a Biden appointee, resigned a little bit early, gives Trump an early appointment.
And that means Republican appointees will now have a majority on the Fed board.
Yes, which they didn't before. Yeah. So does this mean lower rates are coming? Maybe.
Depends on Powell. If he's against it, the votes aren't there.
Probably. If he's for it, they will be. The Fed's mission includes keeping inflation in check, and the 14-year terms are meant to insulate them from pressure.
But this president has a knack for bending people to his will.
He's extraordinarily good at it, reports suggest. A majority of his people on the board makes the task much easier.
Finally, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting shut down.
Yeah, another move related to information control. Authoritarians always try to control the information flow.
Trump's internalized this, even suing media outlets.
Seems so. For NPR and PBS via CPB, it was a different tactic. Republicans pushed through rescissions, cutting off all its funding.
And CPB announced Friday it has to shut down. Mission accomplished, as one source put it.
Grimly, yes. And the hardest hit, rural areas. where many Trump voters live.
Because CPB funds a big chunk of their local NPR and PBS stations.
Exactly. Without it, they can't make ends meet. Urban stations can fundraise from wealthy donors, maybe even use the shutdown as a rallying cry. Less true in rural areas.
So the result is more reliance on Fox News for information in those areas.
That appears to be the likely outcome. And Trump probably doesn't mind this so much.
One last observation from the sources, George W. Bush's silence.
It's noted as curious. He's alive. His opinion still matters to many Republicans. A statement that Trump's actions affront traditional GOP values could have an impact. But he's been as quiet as a mouse.
Okay, quite a deep dive today. What really stands out, we've seen how things that seem separate, Epstein fallout, campaign cash, Texas gerrymandering, data integrity, they're all tangled up.
Yeah, they're part of this bigger story about power, information, trust, and institutions. It really reminds you that under the daily news churn, these fundamental forces are shaping how we see reality.
Right. So here's something to think about. In a time when trust in official data, in established stories, is being challenged so much, how do we navigate that?
How do you personally figure out what's true, what's important, what really matters for the future? Definitely something to mull over this week.